They say that death and taxes are the only certainties in life, and I don't really have any arguments against that. However, I do know that we're the CEO of this and can have quite a significant impact on how well it works, and in some cases, a little bit of an impact on how long it works. And that's one of the reasons why I work out 5 times a week, and I focus on cardiovascular fitness, strength, mobility, and my favorite out of all of those is sleep. Amongst other things, I also get my bloods checked regularly, and in this video I'm going to share with you some surprise negative results I've had and how these results have helped me address and hopefully prevent a potential catastrophic health incident. And maybe this video will incentivize you to do the same. Let's get cracking. There are lots of companies that will run general blood tests for you, and I would recommend finding one that's been around for a while and also one that's got really good reviews. I live in the UK and have used Thriva since 2017. They've been around for a long time. They started off with a generalized blood test for me, and then over the years it's been tailored to kind of my needs and wants and areas where they think I should keep an eye on things. If you're in the UK, I'll put a link in the description that will give you £20 off your first Thriva blood tests. It also gives me £20 off my next one, so thank you very much. And the test is very simple to do. It arrives in a box. You open up the box and then you take the test. It takes about probably 20 to 30 minutes. You then put it all back in the box and then you send it off to their labs for processing. It can be a little bit daunting, pricking your own finger. I found it difficult at first, and if you really don't feel like you can do that, then they can put you in touch with a nurse who will do that part for you. So here's my results overview page, and feel free to pause the pictures in this video at any time. You can see that most of my results are green. So lighter green is in range and darker green is optimal. And then you've got my doctor's notes on the other side of the screen. But if you look down the bottom, you can see that a couple of things are out of range. There's lots of good news though. I can see that my testosterone and thyroid levels are either good or optimal, and this is something that I just want to keep an eye on, especially as I'm getting older. But the most important data comes from the things that aren't working quite as well as they should do. So one thing that was fairly easy for me to fix was my vitamin D levels. A couple of years ago, they showed me that my vitamin D levels were kind of at the lower end of where they should be, and they recommended taking some vitamin D tablets. And I'm one of those people who buys vitamin tablets from Amazon, not really knowing if they work or not. So you can clearly see here that when I started taking vitamin D tablets, they did work. In fact, I took a little bit too much and I've reduced it back down now to a better level, and my vitamin D levels are pretty much optimal now. Next cause for concern are my creatinine levels. And this is an indication of how well your kidneys are filtering out the impurities and waste from your muscles. And I'm not too concerned about this because there are things that can give you a higher level. So if you like weight training, which I do, then you have more waste coming out of your muscles than perhaps somebody who doesn't. And also I've been taking creatine for the last year. I've just stopped actually, which I'll talk about in another video. But that's another kind of reason why the creatinine levels will be high. And I'm going to keep an eye on these and just see if they just return to normal for my next blood test. Now, the big surprise for me, and not in a good way, and I'm so pleased that I had these results because it meant I could then act on them, was my cholesterol levels. Now, as you can see, my triglyceride levels are good, and so is my healthy cholesterol, which is called HDL, in relation to my overall cholesterol. So the ratio there is good. However, if you look at my LDL cholesterol or my bad cholesterol, you can see where the problem lies. My overall cholesterol is also above where it should be. And let me show you this trend of my cholesterol levels over the last few years. And you can clearly see that the trend was upwards. And you can also see in 2022, the exact moment where I started taking medication to help bring my cholesterol levels down. And one thing that I've always found, like when I go to the doctor, I get maybe some tablets or something, or some medication or some treatment. It's not really that easy to see how well it's helping you unless you actually feel better. And when you get data like this, you can clearly see the way it was going and then also the drop in the level once the medication kicked in. What surprised me over the last year was my cholesterol levels were starting to rise again at a fairly significant rate. And I'm sure you know this already. High cholesterol is a silent killer. There are no symptoms around having high cholesterol, but they can lead to some pretty acute events, such as a heart attack or a stroke, for instance. It really is a silent killer, which is one of the reasons why I take so much interest in having my bloods measured regularly, just to kind of see where things are. And because of where these results were, I then thought it's going to be best to contact my GP directly and see what they thought, see what could be done in this situation. And it's worth noting that I don't drink alcohol, or I do very occasionally, say maybe, I don't know, 1 or 2 drinks a month, but it is an exception for me. My BMI is slightly high, but I also do have a little bit more muscles than some of my peers, but I perhaps could do with losing a couple of pounds as well. And I would say my diet is 80-20. By 80-20, I mean probably 70-30. So it's okay, it's not horrendous, and my lifestyle doesn't really warrant having such high cholesterol levels. And both my doctor and I agreed there wasn't any significant places to go for me to work to bring these levels down myself, and another medical intervention was needed. And the medication I take for my cholesterol, which are statins, was increased slightly in the hope to bring it back down within the normal range. And if you're watching this video in the future, please feel free to drop a line in the comments and ask me how things are going. I will update it when I have my next test though as well. But in conclusion, as much as I love the NHS, so I'm in the UK, we get free healthcare. I think it is excellent, like most people in the UK. However, I also think it's under a huge amount of pressure. I think it's very difficult for them to now be reactive, let alone proactive when it comes to people's health. And that's why it falls back on us as individuals to perhaps look at what we can do to prevent things from getting worse later on. And to be completely blunt, no one can care about you as much as you can care about yourself. Medicine is designed to make you better, whereas there's a lot of things that we can do as individuals to stop that ship from hitting the iceberg in the first place. Well, I hope you found this video useful and interesting, and if it's inspired you to do something as a result, then please let me know in the comments. And until next time, see you soon.